Hey y'all, welcome back for another hunting ammo ballistics gel test. If you're wanting some more 7 mag, you're in the right spot. We've got Federal Fusion 150 grain and 7mm Remington Magnum. And here's your box for that Federal Fusion 150 grain load in 7 mag. We've got our deer icon. Let's go ahead and flip it around to the back and take a look. Here is your promo info. Feel free to stop, pause, and read that if you would like. Coming on over to the left, we've got our sort of ballistics chart. Our muzzle velocity is stated at 3,050 feet per second. We'll see how close we get to that. Let's go ahead and pop it open and take a look. Comes in your standard Federal plastic ammo holders. It does have the blue lacquer stuff in the primer pocket. It's always nice to see, like a sealant. Let's go ahead and take it out, take a look. If my camera will focus, there it is, classic Federal Fusion. Let's go shoot it and see how it does. And my test rifle today is my Tikka T3X laminate stainless, chambered in 7mm Remington Magnum, of course. It's got a 24.3 inch barrel. It did not come threaded. I had that done after the fact. Up top, we've got a Leupold VX Freedom scope. And coming on back, I've got to show you one of my handmade leather cartridge cuffs. Check out my website, masonleather.com, to get yourself one. I would love to make you one. This one, we've got 7 mag stamped right in to let everybody know the lightning is about to strike. I've also got one of my super thick Latigo leather slings here. Check out my website for these as well. If you're looking for a leather sling that will last a lifetime, you're going to want to check these out. And coming around to the other side, I've got to show you my elk design. And real quick, if you're watching this video anytime around when it came out, I'm having a huge sale on my website, masonleather.com. Go check it out and get yourself something.
We'll be taking 3 shots from 100 yards, firing into 10% ballistics gel that has been calibrated to meet the FBI's ballistics testing protocol. And while ballistics gel isn't an exact proxy for big game, it does provide a repeatable medium through which to test various bullets and ammo against each other. After the shots, we'll examine bullet expansion, weight retention, penetration, and velocity. My goal is to provide hunters like you and I with the most objective information possible to help us make the best choice for our particular hunting situation. The ballistics gel in this video has been sourced from Clear Ballistics. You can find a link in the description.
So let's go ahead and shoot it. And here are your velocities for that 150 grain Fusion load out of the 7 mag. Minimum 29.13, maximum 29.46 for an average of 29.24. And we are down here at the blocks after shooting that Federal Fusion 150 grain out of the 7mm Remington Magnum. And we did capture all 3 bullets. You can see 2 right there to the right, and then 1's deeper right there. And I don't know that I have tested another load that makes this first block fly harder than this particular load, because on the first shot, this block went flying end over end and landed like back here in my berm. It was ludicrous. So I got a bottle of water and tried to wipe it off for you guys so we can see the wound track. But I don't know, in the approaching 200 loads I've tested, I don't know that I've seen one that slams it like this does. So that's pretty cool. And we'll go ahead and hit penetration. Our shallowest bullet is right there. It's right at 19.5 inches. Then we've got one deep down right there at 21.5 inches, and this one is at about 22.5 inches. And it's a little tough to tell because of where they wound up in the blocks. I'll see if we can see them better over here. But the expansion, yeah, it's too deep in the block to really see. You can see the lead front fascia of the bullet there. But the expansion of these things, here we can kind of see that one right there, is classic Federal Fusion, just a big old star of death. Absolutely beautiful. And coming over to the first block, we'll try to look at the wound cavity here. It is deep in the block. I hit it a little bit deeper than I would like to, but what we have is very controlled and not rapid expansion, going back till about the 4.5 inch mark. Then it opens up and gets a bit bigger, and then right about here, about the 10 inch mark, starts to taper off again. But that's very interesting. It just doesn't expand super rapidly, but once it gets there, it just slams this block and dumps a whole lot of energy. And here I flip the block upside down so we can kind of look at it again. Here is the front of the block where it hits. Coming on back, we see that big wound cavity about midway, and then it tapers off. Incredible performance from these Fusion 150s out of the 7 mag. Let's go ahead and dig them out and take a look. All right, y'all, we shot it. Let's talk about it. The Federal Fusion 150 grain load and 7 mag. Weight retention, we saw 136, 139, and 140 grains for an average of 138 grains retained weight. So very consistent. 92% weight retention. That's pretty darn good. It's a bit less than what we've seen from Federal Fusion in non-Magnum calibers, which isn't super surprising. With a more powerful round like 7 mag, it's hitting with more energy. I wouldn't expect the bullet to hold together as well, but this is still over 90%. I'm pretty happy with it. And then expansion-wise, incredible expansion. We saw 0.76, 0.79, and 0.8 inches. Again, very consistent. For an average of about 0.78 inches expanded diameter, that is 2.8x expansion. I mean, just take a look at the photo of these bullets. They're nice and evenly expanded all the way around. These are gonna make a nasty hole. And velocity-wise, we saw 2946 for the high, 2913 for the low, for an average of 2925 versus the box spec of 3,050 feet per second. So we did come in 125 feet per second slow versus factory spec. Unfortunately, that's sort of par for the course for a lot of your, factory-loaded ammunition. This isn't the worst I've seen. It's definitely not the best. But at the end of the day, I mean, this stuff's still hitting hard. It's not a big deal. And our estimated velocity at 100 yards is 2,720 feet per second. Penetration-wise, we got 19.5, 21.5, and 22.5 inches for an average of about 21 inches, and that is right there at that 20-inch mark, just past that 20-inch mark that I like to see for your medium game hunting, deer, black bear, wild hogs, stuff like that. For bigger game like elk, grizzly, moose, I'd prefer something that penetrates a bit deeper, but that is not what this stuff is for. Remember, the icon on the box is a white-tailed deer. 150 grains isn't a particularly heavy bullet for 7mm Remington Magnum, so this is really good. It's going to deliver a big punch and penetrate plenty deep for what you need it to. And considering the just wild 2.8x expansion that we saw, it's awesome to see that it went as deep as it did. Kinetic energy wise, with a 150 grain bullet going on average 2,925 feet per second, we're looking at 2,849 foot-pounds at the muzzle and about 2,464 foot-pounds down there at 100 yards. And that's pretty par for the course for 7 mag hunting loads. Now, had the velocity been higher like it was supposed to be, we'd see more energy. And a quick announcement before we get to my final thoughts: if you'd like early access to my videos weeks and even months in advance of everyone else, become a channel member. The links will be in the video description and the pinned comment. Thanks, y'all. All right, y'all, time for my final thoughts on that Federal Fusion 150 grain load out of the 7 mag. I think it did excellent across the board. 92% weight retention, not super surprising because it's a Magnum caliber. Yeah, it's a bonded bullet, but it's hitting so hard. It's over 90%. I'm happy with it. 2.8x expansion, massive expansion. Massive. It's going to make a nasty hole do a lot of damage. Penetration wise, it's right there at that 20-inch mark that I like to see for medium game hunting. And this is marketed as deer hunting ammunition. That's the icon on the box. It's not marketed as, your larger Western game. It's deer ammo for your 7 mag, and I think it would do incredible for that. I think if you're looking for a good solid deer hunting load for your 7 mag, this would be a great option. I wouldn't hesitate to use it. If you've used this load on game, let me and everyone else know in the comments how it did for you. And check out my website, masonleather.com, and get yourself some leather gear handmade by me just for you. I've been handcrafting leather gear for hunters for over a decade, and I would love to make you something. And there are hundreds of reviews on my website, so you can see what real hunters have to say about their Mason leather gear. And also tons of photos showing all the customizable options, including name, initial, and caliber stamping, as well as wild game designs and more. Everything is handmade by me right here in the USA. I would love to be a part of your hunt through my leather gear. And it helps support this channel, so I can bring you more hunting ammo ballistics gel tests, and lots of other cool stuff in the future. The link will be in the video description and the pinned comment, or you can just type masonleather.com into your web browser.
And click one of these cards for more hunting ammo ballistics gel tests.